Long ago, in an old country, a little girl named Gisela lived on a small farm surrounded by woods and mountains. She lived with her mother, brother, grandfather, and great-aunt Tante. They had a horse to ride and to pull the plow, a goat for milk and cheese, a sheep for wool, a pig for a pet, a cat to catch mice and purr by the fire, a rooster to crow, and lots of fat, red, white, and yellow hens, and one black one. And in the spring, when the snow melted, and the streams ran full, loud, and fast, and the hens began laying again, it was Gisela's job to collect the eggs from the chicken house. In the shadowy freshness of dawn, she would go out there barefoot over the cold, wet grass, where old Mother Spider's webs caught the dewdrops for her morning tea. In the chicken house, it was dim and dusty, cool and smelly, full of the mutter and murmur of the hens. She would wish them each a good morning as she tickled them around their wattles the way Great-Aunt had taught her. If she did it properly, she could slip her other hand under them and take out the new warm eggs, delicate as china cups, wisps of straw still stuck to them, and put them in the big basket her mother had made. There were 12 hens, each named for a different month of the year: January, February, Marcia, and so on. On the first day of April, the Day of Fools, she found the hen named for that month gone, her nest empty. Gisela ran to the shed where her big brother Tavido was milking the goat. "April is gone," she said. He ran to the empty nest and sniffed the floor all around it. "The fox," he said as he stood up. He was tall, and his downy new whiskers glittered like gold in the morning sun. She ran after him to the house. Mother, grandfather, and great-aunt Tante sat at a big table with steaming bowls of hot milk and chunks of black bread dripping with honey and butter. Nubia, their big calico cat, lapped his milk by the fire. "The fox," said Tavido, "that vixen we've seen. She took April." "Poor April," said Mother, shaking her head, as Great-Aunt mumbled sounds like a broody hen. Grandfather struck the table with his fist, got up, took the long rifle down from over the door, and gave it to Tavido. Mother wrapped some bread, salty cheese, and honey cake in a bandana and put them into Tavido's leather bag along with a handful of lead bullets. They all followed him out the door, into the yard, and he started toward the woods when Great-Auntie said, "Listen!" They listened. They heard a clomping, regular and rhythmic. They could feel it in the earth. "Run," Grandfather said to Tavido. "Run to the woods." The clomping became stronger and louder with every clomp. But the boy just stood there, looking down the road that came past their house. Now with the clomping they heard a jingling, getting louder, getting closer. "Run, Tavido," clucked Great-Aunt Tante. "Run!" Now there were drums along with the jingling and clomping. "Run to the woods!" His mother shook him, her shout all but drowned out by the drumming and clomping and jingling. But Gisela's brother stood like a tall blonde statue, spellbound by the sound, looking down the road. "I'm not afraid of them," he said. "I'm not afraid of anything." Then around the bend came marching drummers, all in black, beating big red drums. Behind them on a black horse rode a general, in a long black coat and silver helmet studded with spear points. He had a big black mustachio that stood way out on either side of his nose like horns. Behind him marched the soldiers, with their black rifles on their shoulders, a bayonet on each rifle. "Halt!" shouted the general, raising his sword high above his head. With a clash and a jingle they stopped in front of the house. In the sudden silence from far off, Gisela heard a fox bark. "Young man," the general called to her brother, "you're a crag, aren't you?" "Yes, sir," shouted Tavido proudly, saluting and snapping to attention. He and his family were indeed crags, Surland crags, for Surland was the kingdom in which they lived. Gisella's ancestors were said to have come to Surland from some far northern craggy mountains over 1,000 years before. But around the farm, they still spoke their old craggy language and sang their old songs and told their old stories. Some people didn't like them because of that.